me away. And what can I do when I do what I do? You seem to haunt me all day. Now where can I find what I found when I first met you? You were unkind, but I simply can't forget you. Where shall I go when I go where I go? Since you have sent me away.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Stringing It Together. I am Becky, your host, and this is a podcast about knitting and yarny goodness and occasionally some music as well. So I want to thank everyone who is watching right now, whether you are watching for the first time or you're coming back. Thank you so much. I feel like a lot of people have subscribed on YouTube, which is pretty crazy. So thank you for doing that. And if you like this podcast, and I lately have been recording pretty irregularly. So if you want to know when I am recording next or when the next episode comes out, just hit subscribe and then it'll show up on your YouTube page when I release a new video. So yes, we also have a Ravelry group. It is the Stringing It Together podcast group, so you can find us over there. We are small but mighty. I routinely forget to mention it on the podcast, but I have notes this time. I normally just wing it, but I have notes. I'm organized. And also, on most social media, I am Sopranoknits. I'm Sopranoknits on Ravelry, as well as Instagram, where I'm most active. I also have a Periscope that I am rarely on, but it happens occasionally. So I'm there. And I really want to thank some of my amazing podcaster friends who gave me really lovely shout outs since I last recorded. The Periscoping sisters did, and I think that was actually before I recorded last, but Debbie and Amy, I've been friends with them for a while now since they started Periscoping, and they had really sweet things to say, both about the podcast and about my pattern that Amy knit. So thank you for knitting it, Amy. It looks awesome. And so thank you to them. They know I love them. Also, Sue talked about the podcast on the Legacy Knits podcast, and Sue's another one I know from Periscope from seems like a while now. So thank you, Sue. I'm so flattered that you watched. You know I love you. Candace gave me a nice little mention in her podcast, Pin Feathers and Pearls, which is one of my absolute favorites, and I love Candace, and I'm so upset that I almost called you Canvas. It's been a long day. That Candace is coming to Chicago in February, and I will no longer be there. So we will have to meet in real life. It'll happen. It'll be fun. And then also Opera Joe and my fellow opera singer. And I love all of these podcasts, so I love you guys. And thank you for giving me a little, hey, what's up? Great. Okay, also a little administrative thing. This is really sad, you guys. Somebody let me know in the Ravelry group that they couldn't find episode 1 of my podcast. They wanted to watch them, since this is only episode 5. I think I forgot to say that. And episode 1 is gone. It vanished, and I think I know what happened, because she wrote that comment, and I thought I'll just go get it, and I'll link it, and everything will be fine. And then it was just missing from my YouTube channel. But a couple days before that, I was messing around with the playlists on YouTube, like the watch later playlist or whatever, and for some reason my episode of my own podcast was on there, so I went to delete it, and apparently if you delete something from a playlist, it deletes it from your YouTube channel. What is that? Why would that happen? If you go into iTunes and you delete something off a playlist, it doesn't delete it from your library. So I'm really upset, and apparently there's no way to contact YouTube about it. Unless you are like generating them income by having advertisements on your channel, which I do not. So there's like nothing I can do. And because I'm pretty sure I deleted all of the videos that I recorded because I thought, oh, they're up on YouTube. And I recently went through like a hard drive purge on my computer, which is very slow. So I just got rid of all that stuff. So I'm embarrassed and sad that that is gone. But I guess if you're watching for the first time, or if you missed that first episode, I'll just give you like a 30-second like introduction to me. I guess I already told you my name and stuff, but I am an opera singer who had been living in Chicago and am currently in transition to get ready to move to Germany, which I'll talk about more at the end of the episode when I talk about general life stuff. But it's been a little bit of a traveling podcast. Right now I'm teaching at a camp in Lenox, Massachusetts. It's beautiful here. As you can see, I'm sitting outside. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I guess I've been knitting for almost 6 years-ish, maybe more, 5.5-ish. But I only became obsessed about a little over a year ago, I would say. Yeah. So, I don't know, that's me. I can't believe that's gone. If anyone knows anything about that, let me know, but everything I read said you can't retrieve it. Sad sauce. Okay, anyway, let's move on to the knitting. Okay, so I do not have any finished objects. This is living in my project bag that I got in a swap from my lovely friend Jen. Okay, but I have a hoe. I finally get to say that I have a hoe. Okay. And, sorry, here it is. Oh, the lighting is not the best. Dealing with the outdoors. Okay. It is a Hermione's Everyday Sock. Sorry, I'm trying to block my face, but then I can't see if it's showing up right. I think that's pretty true to life. It's a little hard to see the pattern, I think, because it's a darker colorway. It's Velvet Grapes in Malabrigo sock. But yeah, I have one done. I've been knitting them on 9-inch circulars. However, I did a dropped heel, or the like modified Ari of Partridge heel, which I think is in the pattern. It was a while ago that I did the heel. So for the heel and the toes, I moved it onto double pointed needles, knitting it on a US 1.5, high sharps, except for my double pointeds were carbons, but whatever. So there you go, you can see that. They are for Nathan. The first one is done, and then I kind of got bored with the second one. I haven't been working on it very much. He wanted a longer leg because I think we're going to try to have them be kind of more dress socks that he could wear like for performances or whatever. So if he's sitting up on stage at the piano and he sits down, you know, like pants will come up a little bit, and we don't want to see his hairy leg. We want to see his beautiful socks. So that's what these are for. So yeah, these are his Hermione's Everyday Socks. There is the rest of the ball, which will hopefully be enough. I didn't realize when I first bought this that Malabrigo sock gives you less yarn than most other people do in a skein. It's 3.5 ounces when most is 4. I don't know what that is in grams. I don't think it says. Doesn't say. So hopefully it'll be enough for 2 kind of long man socks. Hoping for that. Okay, sorry, my show notes froze on my iPad. Okay, great. Okay, so that's done. Whips. You saw this one last time. It's in one of my favorite project bags, Lara from the Fawn of the Fox. Her unicorn bags. That's how it looks inside. These bags are super high quality and amazing. Highly recommend them. Okay, so this is my sizzle pop, which I have to be careful on because I'm knitting something else on the same size needles, and since I'm using my high sharps interchangeables, I just took the needles off because I should buy another set of 4 tips. Anyway, here it is. It's not huge still, but this guy is where I was last time I talked to you, so I've made a bit of progress. Okay, this is going to be hard to see with the sun pouring through it. But that's one side. Both of them are Tosh Merino Light. This is the Earl Grey colorway, and this is Daffodil, the yellow. So I'm loving the color combo. Oh, this is where I dropped a stitch in brioche, but my numbers aren't off. Or actually they were at one point and I just like fudged on the end. Maybe that's why. Duh. I didn't see it until I was like way up here. But I think it's going to be fine. I just put it on a stitch marker, and especially since brioche is so thick, I'll just sew it back in later. I'm not that worried about it. Whatever. But it's great. It just takes a lot of concentration. So I feel like I haven't gotten that far on it because, although I love it and I want it to be done and it's beautiful, I have been very busy and tired here, and there's a lot of other life stuff going on, and I just felt like I needed something mindless. And I really wanted to cast on the dotted rays for the Stephen West is doing a dotted rays cowl. I love Stephen West patterns. They're very intuitive, and it's a lot of garter stitch, which I would have loved. But because of everything that's coming up in life, I am on a very strict yarn diet. And also, since I'm in Lenox, I'm away from my stash. Of course, I brought some yarn with me to knit on, but I can't just go, I don't have a huge stash anyway, but I can't go diving into there to find things because it's in Chicago at my parents' house in a box. So I did something else. And I had been thinking, I'd had some yarns. I showed them on one of my episodes. Maybe I don't think the first one. You've probably seen them. But it was a while ago. Yarns that I had gotten thinking I was going to make a new design. Sorry, I can't speak today. Making a new design, shawl design I wanted to do. And at first I was inspired by some architecture, and I kind of wanted to make it evoke that, but just seemed too complicated. And you know, I'm a new designer, not that I think I'm like a designer, but what I mean is that I've only designed one pattern, and it was a lot harder than I thought to get it to work out the way that I wanted, and it took a lot of work, took a lot of patience, had to rip it out a lot. And just where I am in life at this very moment, I do not want that. But at the same time, for some reason, I wasn't willing to just take these yarns and give them to another project, like a dotted rays or just something different. I don't know. I'm stubborn. So I decided to go ahead and design something, but that I was going to improvise the design as I went and not make a plan and then make myself stick to the plan. I was just sort of going to make something that felt good. And Chelsea of Legacy Knits, who I know, like, Chelsea just got a job. Yay, Chelsea! But, you know, she was unemployed for a while. She just went through a big move. So, like, I understand. Like, life is stressful when you're in that situation. Believe me, I get it. And she was just saying that she was craving garter stitch. And that resonated with me. And I think right after I watched them, I cast this on. So it's still a work in progress. But I'll show you what I have after I detangle it. Oh no, I'm in the middle of a row. So anyway, here it is now that I'm not in the middle of a row. Da, 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 da. So this isn't in progress. Okay, it's a crescent-shaped shawl, lots of garter, but it also has some other interesting elements, which is kind of what I wanted. I didn't want it to be fiddly or something that I had to think about too much, but that also like was interesting to look at and to knit. Not totally boring. So this is what I came up with so far. So this blue is Budgie. It's Hedgehog Fiber sock in Budgie. And then, oh shoot, I have this yarn with me. I'm going to forget what it is. Why Not? It's Why Not Fibers in their BFL sock in the Shire colorway. And those with good memories may remember that you've seen this yarn before. It was in my, oh my gosh, my brain. Those socks that everyone knit. Jacqueline hosted a knit along for these socks. Fine and dandy socks. Fine and dandy socks. This was my fine and dandy socks, which I only did like almost one of. I almost had a hoe, and then I was just like, they didn't fit me. I had the same issues as a lot of other people. The pattern is beautiful, but I went down to zeros. I normally knit my socks on 1.5s, and they were still way too big. They would have fit Nathan, so I thought about finishing them, but I really just wasn't enjoying knitting them. I don't think I like knitting pattern socks, and I'm not that much of a sock knitter in general. So I actually haven't frogged them yet. I normally pull my yarn from the outside of the ball, so I just started pulling from the middle because I didn't want to use frogged yarn on a new design because I didn't want it to be like the ramen-y look of things, just because I wanted to get more of an idea, even pre-blocking, of what it was going to look like. So I used some of that, and then this is Anzilla Fibers Squishy. So it's their MCM baits. Oh my gosh, it's so soft. I've never knit with MCM before, and now I don't want to knit with anything else. So, so that's it so far. I think I like it. I think I like which way it's going, and I do have some ideas for the end. I'm also planning on adding in this, which is glowing in a fun way in the sun. This is has grass on it. Skinny Dipping by Hedgehog Fibers. And this I had to hand wind. Okay, I do have a little bone to pick. Hedgehog has the most beautiful colors. I've used their yarns before. Not extensively, but a couple times. Love their colors. You know, great yarns. They feel nice, all of that. Both of these skeins of sock, which I had knit with the twist sock before, and then also their merino singles, their DK singles. Both of these skeins were only tied in one place when I like untwisted them from the skein. This one, the budgie was fine. I was still able to like put it on my winder and wind it up. This one was a mess. Like I couldn't find the loop because it was only tied in one place. It was a tangle disaster even though I did it carefully. So I had to detangle and hand wind the entire skein of fingering weight yarn. It's a lot of yards. And actually, this isn't even quite the whole skein. I had a little bit left, and I just got totally frustrated and just cut it. And I was like, I will detangle the rest later, and I'll splice it. I got tired of it. But I figured this is probably all I'll need. I'm thinking that this is going to go on the border eventually. I'm going to do more of the gray. I think I'm going to return to the blue, and then this is going to be the border of it, which I have ideas about. We'll see if it works. But anyway, that is a nice design that I'm working on. Well, hopefully nice. I have my little pineapple progress keeper on here. It's less to mark my progress because that's pretty easy to gauge for me with all the color changes. But it's more just because you do different increases on either side of a crescent shawl, so it tells me which side is the right side, which now honestly is obvious, so I probably don't need that. But at the beginning, it wasn't because it was all garter. Anyway, that is my other whip. And that is it for whips right now. I am dying to knit another sweater, but I cannot afford to buy yarn for another sweater. I talked about this a couple episodes ago that I really want to knit the Portage cardigan. I can't remember who designed it, but I'll try to put it down here. It's been in my Ravelry favorites for a long time. And I wanted some Madeline Tosh yarn. And it's no longer on the website, and I shouldn't buy it anyway. It's bad news. There are people walking around, and they're going to think I'm crazy talking to myself. Okay, sorry. I just straight up waited for someone to walk by because I was going to sound crazy. Okay. Acquisitions. I don't have any. I'm having to be very good on the yarn diet for reasons I will explain later. But, of course, I have skeins of my dreams, which is where I talk about what I wish I could buy and what you should probably go buy if you are able, because I cannot. So I've been lusting after cat sandwich fibers. I know that Jacqueline just had a skein of hers that she gave away in a giveaway, along with like a bag that had like margarita themed fabric. I wanted to win that one really bad. Really bad. That would have been awesome. I want like a margarita bag. Mexican food is my favorite. I should probably ask her where she got that fabric. and then learn to sew something with it before I move to this country that doesn't understand what Mexican food is, and I cry every day. Also, Cat's Kettle Yarn, and I'm embarrassed that I just started watching her podcast, the Yarn 30 podcast, but I did. I'll be honest, I just started watching it, and it's great. So you should all go over and check Katrina out as well. So that's Gains on My Drains. And then also, no, I've been looking into trying to follow more German indie dyers on Instagram so that I can support the local dyers there when I move there. So some other people have been talking about Miss Mothballs, and they've gotten some of her yarns. They are beautiful. I think she's on Etsy, so go check her out. We all know about Molly the Homespun House. Still amazing, love it. And then also Garn Stories, Garn. Garn is German for yarn. So there you go. So I'm lusting after all of those things and more. I want a sweater's quantity of gray, like a medium gray DK yarn with black speckles. That's what I want, and I can't find it anywhere that's affordable, at least. Those are my dreams. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the knitting portion. I know I didn't have that much. If you don't buy things, then you don't have that much to show. Sorry. So now I'm going to talk about my life and what's going on. If that doesn't interest you, bye! Thanks for watching. See you next time. If it does, I'll make it short, but there's a lot happening. So, as I previously said, I am currently at this lovely camp. It is called Belvoir Terrace. It is in Lenox, Massachusetts, which is right by the Tanglewood Festival, for those of you who are in the area. It's in the Berkshires in western Massachusetts. It's beautiful here. It's really gorgeous. And even the grounds are beautiful, as you can see. I'm sort of sitting out on the lawn. Hopefully this doesn't make you crazy. But I wanted to sit facing the house. There's the big mansion up there. But as you can see, I would be backlit and then I would be shadowy. So I didn't do that. But there's this huge mansion up there that some things are in. There's like a sculpture right behind me. It's pretty cool. Also shadowy. Couldn't face that. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm like balancing this on my water bottle. It's a delicate balance. So yeah, I'm here. It's nice. It's a lot of work. We only get 1 day off a week, which is not enough. Because then I'm teaching 6 days a week, pretty intensely, like all day. 1 day a week I have to cover for one of the counselors. So my day to do that is Wednesday, which was yesterday. So I have to wake up the girls at 7:15 and then do all of my teaching and be with them like pretty much all the time that they're not in classes. And then I have to be on duty in the bunk until midnight. So, and I have 1 hour off. And I took a tap class yesterday. So even that was like very active. So between 7:15 and midnight, I am busy. It's crazy. So I got sick. I never get sick. I got sick and I am still kind of gross from it. It lasted 2 weeks. It was horrible. But I'm not saying I'm having a horrible time. Most of the girls are great. The classes are going well. It's nice to be in an environment that's all about art and creation, especially with everything that is going on in the world right now. I'm sorry this glary thing is happening. I'm aware of it, but in a way it's kind of nice that like the campers aren't, because they're not allowed to have their phones. I don't know. It's nice to focus on positive things, because this has been a really rough month in the news and in the world. So that part of it has been kind of nice. I mean, the adults have talked about it, but it's kind of nice to just focus on the good things. Sorry, truck is going by. So yeah, that's camp. It's fine. I just don't have a lot of free time. Haven't had that much time to knit, and there's a lot going on in life. But I have done some nice traveling on my days off, as you may have seen on Instagram. Went to some yarn stores, including Webs. I just went to Webs. We went to, what's it called, Northampton, where Webs is. Guys, I looked through everything at Webs, and I didn't buy anything. I'm kind of proud and kind of ashamed. I'm not sure. But I think since I have the sweater in my mind and I have the yarn in my mind, um, you know, I'm not going to buy a sweater's quantity of yarn that I'm not completely in love with and I can't find it anywhere. So that kind of helped. I was looking at the drop spindles and the fiber because that's something that I would like to get into at some point. I don't think now is the point, but I had fun kind of just looking at those things because you don't see them in every yarn store. There's also another lovely local yarn store. It was like Northampton Yarns or something right in the downtown area, so we went in there as well. So that has been nice, but those days off are way too short. Yeah, and then the rest is just stress. And I think this is part of the reason I got sick. I'm very stressed about the impending doom. It's not doom. I mean, I'm moving to Germany and it's just crazy. I recently found out that my job that I got there, which is singing with the extra chorus, which is just when they need extra people in the chorus at Frankfurt Opera, is paying less than half of what I expected. It's really bad. It's basically, it seems like they're paying based on the assumption that people are in the extra chorus as amateurs doing it for fun, which is not the case for me as a professional. So it really stinks, but I think I'm still going to do it so that I'm doing something musical and I'm getting some sort of experience working in an opera house in Germany. Otherwise, I'm looking into finding jobs teaching English in Frankfurt. I've applied to a few of those. One of them wants to interview me when I get there, so that's good. And then other than that, I'm looking at like freelance work that I could do online from anywhere. So I'm thinking about teaching voice via Skype, which I have done before a couple times, and it poses different challenges than teaching in person, but it's definitely doable. You just have to change what you're doing slightly. So that's good. But the problem is if I'm teaching Americans, the time change can be an issue. And I'm also thinking about teaching myself to do some bookkeeping so that I could be a remote bookkeeper. I'm organized, I'm good at math. I just have to learn some basic accounting things. And it seems like something that there's somewhat of a shortage of. And if people have small businesses, they are looking for someone else to keep their books for them. And, I think I could handle that. And if it's Americans, we don't have to be talking on the phone all the time. So I could do it on my schedule, on my time in Germany, and then we could find times if we need to communicate other than just email. So it seems like scheduling with the time change, it would be easier and that kind of thing. But getting a visa is going to be a nightmare. I believe I have somewhere to live. I was just looking through the lease. It's way more money than I wanted to spend, but Frankfurt is very expensive. I'm able to bring the cats. I booked the plane tickets yesterday, which were crazy expensive because flying with your cats is insanely expensive. But yeah, it's just a lot. And I'm flying one of those airlines where you have to pay extra for everything, but it was still much cheaper than the alternatives. And Nathan is flying with me, so I bought his plane ticket too because he has agreed to go out of his way and make his life very inconvenient in order to help me bring the cats over. So we're carrying the cats on the plane instead of putting them underneath, which just seems very dangerous and risky. So it's a lot. I guess I have like 40 days left in the United States, which is kind of unfathomable to realize that I'm moving to another country alone and that like I have no idea how I'm going to pay all of my bills and work and if I can even get a visa to do what I want to do. It's really crazy. Like this is literally like jumping off a cliff. I've said that about other things in my life, but no, this is it. Like this is jumping off the cliff and just like hoping that the parachute opens somewhere. But if it doesn't, I will survive. If I run out of money and I can't get a visa, I can always come back. It's possible. Anything is possible. But hopefully that won't happen. I don't think it'll happen. But it's going to be a lot. So that is what's going on in my life. I'm sorry that maybe this wasn't very interesting or that I didn't have. I won't say that. Hopefully, it was interesting, but that I just don't have a whole lot to show. It's kind of the nature of things. I'm not sure how often I'll be recording, just because like I probably will not have any acquisitions going forward. I'm trying to decide what to do. Again, I don't have a huge stash, but I really have to think about what I'm packing, and I can bring so little with me. I might look into shipping some things, and yarn is pretty lightweight, but still shipping internationally is very expensive. I mean, I sent a piece of paper and a CD to Germany, and it cost me $15 just to send that through the air. So I'm not sure. I might be knitting on like cheap commercial yarns soon, but that's okay as long as I'm knitting. Gotta do what you gotta do. I hope they have ramen noodles in Germany, because I'm gonna probably eat them for an entire year. But it's life. Doing crazy things. Okay, sorry if I'm oversharing. That is it for today's episode. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Again, you can find me on social media as Sopranoknits. If you liked this and want to be aware of when the next one is, you can, hit like or do comments down there, whatever, and also hit subscribe. I think we're pretty close to 500 subscribers, which is insane. And assuming that might happen before I leave, I'll probably try to do a prize before I leave the States. I don't want to try to do that right after I move, like right after. So hopefully that'll happen before. I'll have like a week or two in Chicago before I depart on this crazy thing. So anyway, thank you so much. I will see you next time. And yeah, happy knitting. Bye, guys.